For you individually, though, does it make you sad that your brain ends? That you die one day very soon? That the whole thing, that data source just goes offline sooner than you would like?
That's a complicated question. I would have answered it differently in different times of my life. I had chronic depression for 10 years. And so in that 10-year time period, I desperately wanted lights to be off. And the thing that made it even worse is I was in a religious, I was born into a religion. It was the only reality I ever understood. And it's difficult to articulate to people when you're born into that kind of reality and it's the only reality you're exposed to. You are literally blinded to the existence of other realities because it's so much the in-group, out-group thing. And so in that situation, it was not only that I desperately wanted lights out forever, it was that I couldn't have lights out forever. It was that there was an afterlife. And this afterlife had this system that would either penalize or reward you for your behaviors. And so it was almost like this indescribable hopelessness of not only being in hopeless despair of not wanting to exist, but then also being forced to exist. And so there was a duration of my time, a duration of life where I'd say, like, yes, I have no remorse for lights being out and actually want it more than anything in the entire world. There are other times where I'm looking out at the future and I say, this is an opportunity for future evolving human conscious experience that is beyond my ability to understand. And I jump out of bed and I race to work and I can't think about anything else. But I think the reality for me is, I don't know what it's like to be in your head, but in my head, when I wake up in the morning, I don't say, good morning, Bryan, I'm so happy to see you. Like, I'm sure you're just going to be beautiful to me today. You're not going to make a huge long list of everything you should be anxious about. You're not going to repeat that list to me 400 times. You're not going to have me relive all the regrets I've made in life. I'm sure you're not doing any of that. You're just going to just help me along all day long. I mean, it's a brutal environment in my brain. And we've just become normalized to this environment that we just accept that this is what it means to be human. But if we look at it, if we try to muster as much soberness as we can about the realities of being human, it's brutal, if it is for me. And so am I sad that the brain may be off one day? It depends on the contextual setting. Like, how am I feel? At what moment are you asking me that? And my mind is so fickle. And this is why, again, I don't trust my conscious mind. I have been given realities. I was given a religious reality that was a video game. And then I figured out it was not a real reality. And then I lived in a depressive reality, which delivered this terrible hopelessness. That wasn't a real reality. Then I discovered behavioral psychology, and I figured out how biased, 188 chronicle biases, and how my brain is distorting reality all the time. I have gone from one reality to another. I don't trust reality. I don't trust realities that are given to me. And so to try to make a decision on what I value or not value that future state, I don't trust my response.
So not fully listening to the conscious mind at any one moment as the ultimate truth, but allowing it to go up and down as it does, and just kind of observing it.
Yes, I assume that whatever my conscious mind delivers up to my awareness is wrong upon landing. And I just need to figure out where it's wrong, how wrong it is, and then try to correct for it as best I can. But I assume that on impact, it's mistaken in some critical ways.
Is there something you can say by way of advice when the mind is depressive, when the conscious mind serves up something that, dark thoughts, how you deal with that? Like how in your own life you've overcome that and others who are experiencing that can overcome it?
Two things. One, that those depressive states are biochemical states. It's not you. And the suggestions that these things that this state delivers to you, about suggestion of the hopelessness of life or the meaninglessness of it, or that you should hit the eject button, that's a false reality.
Yeah.
And that it's when I completely understand the rational decision to commit suicide. It is not lost on me at all that is an irrational situation. But the key is, when you're in that situation and those thoughts are landing, to be able to say, thank you, you're not real. I know you're not real.
Yeah.
And so I'm in a situation where, for whatever reason, I'm having this neurochemical state, but that state can be altered. And so it goes back to the realities of the difficulties of being human. And like, when I was trying to solve my depression, I tried literally you name it, I tried it systematically, and nothing would fix it. And so this is what gives me hope with brain interfaces, for example. Like, could I have numbers on my brain? Can I see what's going on? Because I go to the doctor and it's like, how do you feel? I don't know. Terrible. Like, on a scale from 1 to 10, how bad do you want to commit suicide? 10. You're like, okay.
Yeah, at this moment.
Here's his bottle. How much should I take? Well, I don't know. Like, just.
Yeah, it's very, very crude. And this data opens up it opens up the possibility of really helping in those dark moments to first understand the waves, the ups and downs of those dark moments. On the complete flip side of that, I am very conscious in my own brain and deeply, deeply grateful that it's almost like a chemistry thing, a biochemistry thing, that I go many times throughout the day. I'll look at like this cup and I'll be overcome with joy how amazing it is to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually think my biochemistry is such that it's not as common. Like, I've talked to people and I don't think that's that common. Like, it's not a rational thing at all. It's like, I feel like I'm on drugs, and I'll just be like, whoa. And a lot of people talk about, like, the meditative experience will allow you to sort of, look at some basic things like the movement of your hand as deeply joyful, because it's like, that's life. But I get that from just looking at a cup. Like, I'm waiting for the coffee to brew, and I'll just be like, fuck. Life is awesome. And I'll sometimes tweet that, but then I'll like regret it later. Like, God damn it, you're so ridiculous. But yeah, but that is purely chemistry. Like, there's no rational, it doesn't fit with the rest of my life. I have all this shit. I'm always late to stuff. I'm always like, there's all stuff, I'm super self-critical, like really self-critical about everything I do. To the point I will almost hate everything I do. But there's this engine of joy for life outside of all that. And that has to be chemistry. And the flip side of that is what depression probably is the opposite of that feeling of, like, because I bet you that feeling of the cup being amazing would save anybody in a state of depression. Like, that would be like fresh, you're in a desert and it's a drink of water. Shit, man, the brain is it would be nice to understand where that's coming from, to be able to understand how you hit those lows and those highs that have nothing to do with the actual reality. It has to do with some very specific aspects of how you maybe see the world. Maybe it could be just like basic habits that you engage in, and then how to walk along the line to find those experiences of joy.
And this goes back to the discussion we're having of human cognition is, in volume, the largest input of raw material into society.
Yeah.
And it's not quantified. We have no bearings on it. And so you wonder, we both articulated some of the challenges we have in our own mind. And it's likely that others would say, I have something similar.
Yeah.
And you wonder, when you look at society, how does that contribute to all the other compounded problems that we're experiencing? How does that blind us to the opportunities we could be looking at? And so it has this potential distortion effect on reality that just makes everything worse. And I hope if we can assign some numbers to these things just to get our bearings, so we're aware of what's going on. If we could find greater stabilization in how we conduct our lives and how we build society, it might be the thing that enables us to scaffold. Because humans have done a fantastic job systematically scaffolding technology and science and institutions. It's humans, it's our own selves, which we have not been able to scaffold. We are the one part of this intelligence infrastructure that remains unchanged.